One's a Chiefs fan, the other's a Pats fan, and together they make Primetime Dimes.
What's up, my fellow football fanatics? Welcome back to episode 24 of Primetime Dimes. It's nice to finally be back with everyone. So we're your weekly source for navigating the NFL and CFB seasons in a world full of overreactions. I'm one of your hosts, Megan, and with me as always is Chelsea.
What's up, everybody? It's Super Bowl week. We are pumped, as you can tell by my attire. I caved and bought the Joe Burrow Sunnies. You're welcome.
Look dope.
Thank you. I have been wearing them all week. I'm so excited.
Stylish.
But yeah, this week, I know it's like, I can wear these in the summer too. Anyways, I'm not going to go on about them, but they're amazing. This week we have a recap of the NFL postseason for you. We'll also give you our Super Bowl predictions for this weekend. But first, I need to check on our biggest TB12 fan. I know, Milton.
Yes.
How are you holding up after the official announcement of Tom Brady's retirement the other week?
All because of money, too. All because of money, that delay. No, it's
Was
wild.
that? I had no idea what happened there.
Yeah. Okay.
With
to get that part
announcement,
basically out, is if he had retired on the day that the journalists had broke the news, he would have been out $15 million. So if he's on the roster past X day, which I think was the Tuesday of that week, he received $15 million in a bonus or something.
Damn.
So, of course, I don't care how much money you have. If you have an opportunity to make $15 million, you're going to wait the 2 days.
Yeah.
I think it sucks that it got leaked, but a journalist is doing a journalist's job. So that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
That was wild,
What
though.
sucked was the speculation between the announcement and the actual announcement where they're like, well, now he might not retire. And I didn't know that whole time it was because he was waiting until past a certain day so he could collect a bonus.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I'm not sure if there was any credence to the rumor that the 49ers were interested potentially. Or that he was interested in the 49ers. I'm not sure if there was any actual truth to that, though. That was just some speculation I heard.
A rumor. Yeah.
And so, who knows? He 100% retired because his wife told him it was time to. The league couldn't beat him, which I find absolutely hilarious. Is he was still at the top of his game. Well, not the top of his game per se, but he was still
he's
quote,
the top
MVP
of
of
the
this
game.
League. He is in that conversation in his final year at age 44, having just almost completed another comeback as big as his Super Bowl comeback. The league didn't beat him. He just said, okay, I guess I should retire. Life told him to retire.
I definitely think that he is far away from being terrible if he continued to play. But like he said, he didn't feel like he was there 100%. You could be the best if you're not fully present, then stuff's gonna fall apart. So I respect him for noticing that I could continue, but for the sake of his mental health, his family well-being, that he was this is my time. I've put in many of years of work. He's accomplished so much. I will put my Tom Brady hate aside for this. He has accomplished a lot. Probably will be one of the greatest quarterbacks we ever talk about from our generation growing up. So I will tip my hat to TB and happily let the door kick him on the ass. Kick him. I didn't even say that right. Let the door slap. How do you say it?
Kick him in the ass on the way out. I don't know.
That's it.
It's funny because it's so bittersweet. I watched that dude since I was 8 years old. It's weird.
Okay.
He won't be in the league, but it's also he had always said he was going to play until he sucked, and I'm glad he didn't do that. Because imagine in Favre's final year or even Peyton Manning's final year, being a fan of either of them, watching them fall apart. Like Peyton Manning didn't win the Super Bowl. His defense won him the Super Bowl and let him walk off with
but
it.
I feel like anyone who is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan knows what it feels like to watch your quarterback retire on a shitty season. So
exactly.
It's like there are people who could relate to that. So I'm sure a lot of TV, like I wish that like his fans knew that this was going to be his last season. Because it would have like made it like you would have wanted to enjoy it more. But you know, it's his decision. He can, you know, he had to wait until whenever to actually officially announce it. So, but I do have to ask you one question.
Yep.
If you could pick one ultimate Tom Brady moment that you could, like, if you could go back and rewatch it for the first time, which one would it be?
Well, I can tell you what game. I've only ever gone back and watched one single game, and it happened the day he retired, which was Super Bowl 51 when he came, or not 51 when he came back. Like when he beat Atlanta. I remember that game, obviously. Like, of course, I was like, the game's over at half. And then there were, like, I don't know if you remember near the third.
I do. I remember getting the text message
back to you being like, okay, wait, maybe it's not over. Wait a second. Like, you were along for the ride as I slowly became, like, found that, like hope.
I remember being, I'm sorry, this is probably one of my favorite Tom Brady moments too, just because of like what happened. Because I remember being at the bar, like we were at Ollie's with a bunch of friends drinking. We were just like, didn't really care. We saw Tom Brady was losing. You would text me at the half being like, oh, it's like, you know, it's over. I'm defeated. So we started buying pitchers and we started putting straws in our pitch. Like we weren't even pouring them into our cups. Like we were just having a ball. And somewhere around the fourth quarter, we had like decided to try and bounce quarters into the jugs. That's how bored we were. And all of a sudden we started noticing people cheering. So we looked up at the screen. We're like, what the fuck? And then I had you nonstop texting me, freaking out. Like I don't think anyone believed what happened that night.
No. That was
unbelievable. Truly a miracle.
Yeah. So I went back and watched that and got just to like. It was funny. I paused it. I was watching it while I was doing some work. So I paused it at one point and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is also right when things started turning around. And sure enough, the very next play was like the strip by Hightower or something. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. I do vaguely remember this game though, because it was high stress. No, that would be it. I mean, even his first season, like I have good memories. I'm very lucky to have a lot of good memories to pull from him.
I have a lot of bad memories of Tom Brady.
I'm excited to see the like retirement Tom Brady in the sense of like I don't think he's going to be around the game. I think he's done.
Like
he's away.
By any like
I think we'll see him in guest type spots. Like I don't think he's completely done, and maybe he coaches at some far out. I don't see it though. Like, yes, he loves the game, but I think he loves the game if he's playing it. And if he's not playing, he's going to go pursue things like movies and his other business ventures. In the same way, like LeBron James. When LeBron James is done with basketball, he's done with basketball. He's going to be in the film industry in the same way Kobe Bryant was going to be like... There's some people that just have other plans for their retirement, and I think Brady wants away. I think Giselle wants Brady away.
Yeah. I do like I could see him like maybe not coaching or commenting, but even like scouting maybe. Like I feel like he could make like a really decent scout. So like if anything NFL related, I think he would maybe go the scouting route. But like I do also agree with you. Like I see him like focusing on his like, you know, he has his own brand. I don't know if it's clothing or like health fitness stuff.
It's kind of all of the above. He has the clothing line, like Brady brand, and then he has TB12, which is the fitness.
Yeah, so obviously he's probably going to put a lot more time and money into that and amp that up. But I definitely would, like, I'd like to see him on a guest spot. Like everyone, well, I think most people like when Tony Romo calls the plays before they happen. And I think like watching Tom Brady comment on games would be really interesting. Yeah.
Once or twice. Like I think he'll try it. But like also back to one of your points that you made a bit earlier about it, it's like I'm kind of happy I didn't know it was the end. Like I watched, luckily I'm privileged that I got to see probably 98% of his entire career. Like I religiously watched the Patriots and even the Bucks. Like, I didn't take this last game the most serious. Like, had I known it was going to be the final game, I probably would have watched it slightly closer. I was a little bit, like, bored near half of it.
Do you think he knew when he threw that touchdown pass to,
yeah.
Was it White?
Who
was it?
Mike Evans?
Mike Evans. Do you think he knew that was his last one?
Yeah, I think he knew he was retiring, and I think all the signs made it very clear, especially his Man in the Arena. So that ESPN Plus special that went over all of his Super Bowls, I'm like, why release that? Unless you know that's your last Super Bowl. Like, even then, like,
that's so true.
Number 11, I'm sure they could have done a special episode, but yeah, I think he knew it was over, and I think a lot of us didn't take him serious when he said he wouldn't let people know, or it wouldn't be obvious when he was going to retire, so that we couldn't celebrate it, because he didn't want a farewell tour. He didn't want,
and I think he did that pretty well.
I think he did it really, really well, and I'm just very happy I got to live and experience him in the NFL. Like, I'm happy to have been in this decade of the NFL. But now
I'm sure I'm going to feel the same way about I'm sure I'm going to feel the same way about Patrick Mahomes down the road. So I'm not looking forward to that day.
No, we're very privileged for this next group of quarterbacks too. Like, some of them are just studs. But yeah,
I'm very excited.
Did you see what Washington did?
Excuse me. Yeah, oh my God. What, like after 2 years making us wait, anticipate, gathering information, data, ideas, and they come up with the Washington Commanders. At that point, I was okay. I was getting okay with them just being the Washington football team. What was wrong with that? It's kind of like a classic, it gave me like a homecoming college vibe almost.
Yeah. Do you want to say
like the
that
Washington
again?
Football team?
Do you want to say say what Washington's name is again?
The Commanders?
There you go.
What did I say last time?
It screeched you out.
Oh, I was like, did I say it wrong?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know who picked this or why they thought this was the best idea. I guess they were trying to keep it, like Washington.
It should have been Washington football team. That shit was gold. Go with the friggin' soccer way, or European football, or proper football way of naming clubs. Just do it. It's hilarious.
I liked it. I was getting used to it, and now it's like, what do you nickname them?
Not what your first thought was.
Right?
Especially because they're red, and I'm not going to say what my first thought was, but I'm hoping enough of our audience gets it. But it's just not a good short form. It is 100% what people are going to call them.
Yeah.
And it's just a terrible name.
I just think I liked the Washington football team. I don't think they could have came up with anything better that's not already out there. It was classic. You could do whatever you wanted with the logo, really. It's just letters. Right? I don't know. Yeah. I'm a little disappointed, but I guess we'll just leave it at that. I just wanted to, continuously shit on Washington.
Forever. Them and the Cowboys.
Forever. Hell yeah. Well, speaking of the Cowboys, you want to say anything about Wild Card Weekend?
Only thing is, Mac Jones got his experience. He got whooped, and rightfully so. Bills were the better team, sadly. I hope they don't get too comfortable. I look forward to Mac Jones beating them into submission. It will happen. And the boys did what the boys do, and that was lose.
They really fucked that one up. I think it was even towards the beginning of the game, they were really down.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was the only other thing that surprised me out of Wild Card Weekend would have been that the Cardinals losing to the Rams 34-11. I wasn't very optimistic that they would win that game, but I did think it'd be a lot closer, a better game at that. So I think that was the only thing that really disappointed me out of the Wild Card Weekend. Other than that, everything was super stellar in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you there. But then we got the best weekend of football ever.
Oh my God. I don't know how any postseason is ever going to live up to this postseason. Like, the divisional round had all 4 games end on a walk-off score. And the road teams, most of the road teams won except for the Chiefs, which was the game that went into overtime with the Bills. But, road teams have never gone 4-0 in a divisional round. So that's something
cool
to keep in mind. This is the only third time in NFL history that it's been 3-1 for road teams. So it was really exciting to see.
Nice. You love to see that. I think the best thing, no. Okay, I won't say the best thing, but I think one really cool thing was the Bengals beating the Titans. Like, I do really like that. Not only did Burrow play fantastic, you had McPherson kicking amazing. Like, he
oh my
done
God,
an unbelievable job, and this is why you draft a kicker. Like, he is.
This is why you draft a kicker.
No,
not only that, but the confidence that McPherson has. Like, I don't know if you saw the video of him going up to Joe Burrow, and he was like, I guess we're going to the AFC Championship. Like, he said that before he even got on the field to make the kick. Like, that, you have to be confident in those situations. Also, he has, this season, he never missed a kick on a road game.
Yeah, that's unreal.
He was 15 for 15 on road games. So, this kicker really punched their ticket to the AFC Championship and ultimately the Super Bowl. But I didn't know this until I did some research, but the Titans do have a little bit of a curse on them.
Oh, yeah.
Every time the Titans have been the top seed, they've been the top seed a total of 3 times in their franchise history, and they're 0-3 as AFC's number 1 seed.
Yeah. That's
Had I known that prior to our last episode, I definitely wouldn't have picked the Titans to go all the way.
That's fair. We were hyped. I couldn't have predicted this. This Super Bowl.
Tannehill was doing good. They had Derrick Henry back. There wasn't any reason to doubt that they couldn't do it. But then Bengals win.
Felt like they hardly used Henry, which was
not
good.
It was crazy.
But then probably, I mean, you and I could argue over what the best game ever has been. But what I would assume you would say is the best game ever was the Bills-Chiefs game. It was.
I hate the Bills, so
it was unreal.
Very happy with this game. The final score was 42-36 in overtime. A few facts let's just talk about the last 2 minutes of this game. In the last 2 minutes of regular play, both teams combined for a total of 25 points in those final 2 minutes. That is a new playoff record for the most points scored in the final 2 minutes of a game. And then you had, at the 2-minute warning, Mahomes had 190 passing yards, and that almost doubled after the 2-minute warning, including overtime. He had 188 yards and 2 touchdowns, which included the game-winning pass to Travis Kelce. So just think about, what was that, 5 minutes, like the 2 minutes, the 2-minute warning regular, and then the overtime, and he doubled what he had thrown that whole game. I am so speechless about this game. Like, both quarterbacks had over 300 passing yards, more than 3 touchdowns, and 50 or more rushing yards, and no interceptions.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? This was a clean game. But yeah, this was nuts on a lot of levels. On top of the fact that, the Bills ended up relying a lot on Gabriel Davis to make a lot of plays. I was surprised that the Chiefs weren't doing anything to stop him. Yeah, he had 4 catches for 201 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 scores, setting an NFL playoff receiving record.
That's unbelievable. That's awesome.
It was insane. But yeah, I think the most controversial thing that came out of this game was, again, people are talking about the overtime rules. So for some of our listeners who are not too familiar, overtime rules are you flip a coin. If you call heads and it's heads, you get to decide if you want to go first or second. If you score on that first drive, the game is over. If you don't, or you kick a field goal, the other team gets an offensive chance to score as well. Do you agree that these overtime rules need to be changed to make it, quote, I'm going to put it in air quotes, more fair, because I don't, I'll talk after you, but.
Oh, absolutely. I think they need to be changed. During the season, I don't really care what they do. I couldn't care less. I think teams could tie. I think it's ridiculous that they don't want ties, but do what you want. It's your league. But when it comes to the playoffs, I think the opposing quarterback should always get a chance to answer. Because even if you don't score a touchdown, then game's over. But what's a more exciting way to end a game? Someone winning on a coin flip, because essentially whoever got that ball was going to win. Yes, I know the following week that theory got kind of broken. But if you give that opposing QB a chance to answer, if it gets down to it, to like that 3rd and 10 or like a 3rd and long, a 4th and long, you're going to start seeing quarterbacks make plays not based off of the playbook, but based off of what they think they can win the game with, looking at that defense. You just get this such an exciting dynamic potentially. And yeah, that could be once every 4 or 5 playoffs. But when it happens, could you imagine an OBJ one-handed catch like that, a Tyrese catch like again by the Giants against the Patriots against the helmet happening in a response to a touchdown to keep the game going when you think all hope's lost? Like I was all for the rules, but even before the Patriots benefited from it, back when I just thought it was like, no, it makes the most sense. But now that it feels like any time the coin toss, whoever wins the coin toss is going to win that game. Even when the Patriots benefited against the Chiefs, it was just like, come on, I would have loved to see if Mahomes could answer, especially because at that point he was being referred to as the baby goat. Okay, let's see Joey Burr try to, go back and forth with Mahomes. Let's see Josh Allen try to respond after a game that was that crazy, especially when at 13 seconds left on the clock, you think you've won that game, even against Mahomes. Like, you kind of, like, you don't know for sure, and there's always a possibility for a Hail Mary catch and stuff, but you assume you have it. And their defense played the stupidest coverage I've ever seen. So it's like, yeah, I would like to see a chance to answer. And even if you want to penalize them in the sense that they have to run a 2-minute, now you get a little too fancy, but you could get kind of creative and remove timeouts, penalize the team if you want, have them start further back, do whatever you want to penalize the team for allowing a touchdown, but let them try to respond, even if it's from your own 1 yard line and you have to go 99 yards.
Okay. I hold the unpopular opinion in this conversation. I actually prefer the NFL overtime rules. I don't think I do, and I don't think they're fair. I do agree that both quarterbacks should get a chance, but your team isn't just a quarterback. You also have a defense, and like you said, Bills didn't play the best defense on that overtime, which in turn led to the Chiefs winning. And if your defense, especially in the playoffs, if your defense cannot stop that offense, I don't think you deserve to get a chance to return the ball.
I think that's a weak argument,
if you do and you win that game and you move on and then you get completely blown out because your defense sucks, that's a game I don't want to watch.
Yeah, but it's such a weak argument because then if the rules were reversed, your defense would not have stopped Allen's either. And it's I still would have wanted to see Mahomes. I think both sides of the ball, because it is a team sport, should get a chance to defend their turf.
Another reason that I like the overtime rules right now is because, and I mean, it makes me more understanding of them, I would say, because you also have to think about the fact that this is a TV production.
Oh, yeah.
And their overtime is cutting into other programs. Like the TV stations do not program extra time on TV for your game to go over. At which point it gets switched to another station, or you get told that the program after is, delayed, or you can watch that on a different station. So I can understand from a production standpoint, because you have to remember that the NFL itself is a TV production, that they don't have the luxury of doing 3 overtimes like a hockey game or something. But they only do that in playoffs, so I won't use that as an example. But
they could still have a 15-minute timer on there, which they'd have in the regular season. So it's still only be the quarter max.
Yeah, and with everything that's come to light about the NFL overtime, people are saying, why don't you switch it to the college overtime? I fucking hate college overtime. It is a refresher of college overtime is both teams start at the 35-yard line. You have one offensive drive to score a touchdown. If you score a touchdown, the opposing team does get a chance to respond. If you both score touchdowns and the game is still tied after that, you move into a second round of the same thing, except you have to run a 2-point conversion. After that, so in the third round and overtime and beyond, you are only running 2-point conversion plays. I have seen games go into 9 overtimes before because they have not been able to successfully run a 2-point conversion play. At that point, I turn off the TV because I could literally care less if it's not my team.
Yeah, no. So you still put a timer. You say it's 15 minutes max. So if you're, let's say I think they should play the full for and it takes 10 minutes off the clock, then you only have 5 minutes to respond. Maybe, and this is where you play maybe no timeouts. Maybe you can get really finicky with that because yes, it's a production. They're also paid millions and millions for going over. And then on top of that, it's still not as bad as something like the World Cup or the Euro Cup, where when those games go into overtime, it's 45-minute halves, no golden goal.
Yeah.
So it's in the grand scheme of things, with how rare games typically go to OT, now that could be increasing. We have seen a lot more recently. Absolutely. But
I would agree with the having just an extra quarter, play it through, and then I don't know what they would do after that if it's still tied. But I do like that idea that it's not a matter of having an equal amount of offensive drives, but an equal amount of time, and it's what your team offensively and defensively does with that time. That I would be okay with. The other things I had written down that I would be okay with was to have no overtime in the regular season, and then keep the same overtime rules in the playoffs. Just like I said, because it's quick and dirty. You know what I mean? That's, at that point, if the game, the Chiefs one, was this close, it's touchdown for touchdown. It's late. I want to go to bed. I'm old. I don't want to stay up for another hour watching a 15-minute period of football. I want this to be one and done. So get the touchdown, finish the game. That's just how I feel about it. I know it's very unpopular. I'm aware. You can judge me for it. But I'm someone who values my sleep over a very long football game.
See, I don't need to know how it ends to go. So when I'm tired, I just go to bed. I don't really care. I can see it in the morning. But I can I would rather that someone like Patrick Mahomes had a chance to respond to Tom Brady in that game and have woken up to the Patriots having lost, than to have stayed up, see that, and know that Tom Brady was going to win that game, because he wasn't going to not score a touchdown, and have no response from Mahomes. It was one of those where it's I think I prefer the game ending and the best chance for both teams to have defended that turf or stolen the turf, whichever side you're on.
I mean, I can agree to that, but at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm that team also has a defense. It's their if you lose the coin toss, that's on your defense to get you the ball. If they don't get you the ball, I don't think you're deserving of moving on. That's how I feel.
It's such a shitty thing to come to chance.
It is. Absolutely, it's a shitty thing to come to chance. And Josh Allen was an idiot for picking tails.
But then wasn't it like the next game where Mahomes never chose heads and it was
the Bengals?
Yeah, like so it was like
No. I thought the Bengals chose tails and it landed on tails. I don't know. Either way, the Bengals ended up with the ball in overtime in the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think that there is a revamp. That was it.
Yeah. So Mahomes ended up with the ball.
I can't remember.
Like I thought, like
I fell asleep during that game.
It was a different. It was like the coin toss was like a different one.
I can't comment on the end of that game because I fell asleep, and I'm happy I did because I didn't have to be disappointed. I woke up and found out what happened instead of going to sleep disappointed. So I slept better. But yeah, I do think a change is coming in the near future for overtime rules with the amount of pushback that they've been getting from not only like fans, but the league itself. Yeah. I just don't know how serious they're going to take it, but I feel like it's going to come to a point where like, okay, like this is ridiculous. Can we please do something to make it a bit more fair?
Yeah, I'm not sure that anything will actually get done because like the Chiefs did try and get it changed and like all the owners voted it down. So a lot of people, at least owner-wise, the votes that matter, don't seem to care, or don't seem to mind. Maybe they care, but they don't seem to mind.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is. And then we saw the NFC Championship, and the exact way I would have expected with Jimmy G throwing an interception to then lose the game. Like, it's funny.
We had to talk about. You skipped over the NFC division.
Oh, yeah. There wasn't anything really fun there. The 49ers beat the Packers, which is great because Aaron Rodgers can't win, which I love. Don't ever come at me.
I love that stat.
Like, he's 0 for 4 in the NFC, like, against the 49ers. He's won one Super Bowl.
I find it funny that, like, in games against the Bears, I know it's just, like, more of a rivalry, but like in games against the Bears, he's screaming at the fans like, I own you, yet he cannot beat the 49ers in the playoffs.
He owns people in the regular season. I'd rather a quarterback who owns people in the Super Bowl, but that's just me, and my goat's different than others. So yeah, Rodgers lost, and then Brady lost, which was kind of sad to see, but it was
I was gearing up for a comeback there.
Yeah, like he came back, but he left just too much time, and that happens. Like still, he came back, which was kind of cool. I would have thought it was over, and I had stopped paying like clear attention to it for a bit. Not because like I was just like, oh okay, like the team just doesn't look to be great. It's one of those years. Had I known he was going to retire, I probably would have watched that a little bit closer. But yeah, no, he lost, and now he's out there living his best life. And Mike Evans threw his last touchdown into the stands, which is hilarious to me. So
I know, because it's like nobody really knew, right?
Yeah, so whoever has that ball is about to get a payday.
Oh my God. I wonder if the Bucs are going to try and get it back like they did his...
They will.
Whatever 100th ball. Yeah. I'm sure they will. They're going to want to put that somewhere.
Hall of Fame. Their football Hall of Fame will have it.
But yeah, I guess, I think the divisional round was probably the most wild out of everything this postseason. I mean, the AFC Championship, the Bengals got the jump on the Chiefs. They won 27-24 in overtime. I personally think the Chiefs lost this one for themselves. Like, we had it in the first half. We did. And I'm just so too familiar with the Chiefs postseason choke that when I woke up the next morning and found out we lost, I was not surprised in the slightest. I was honestly kind of relieved because this is the first time since 2018 that I'm able to enjoy a Super Bowl stress-free.
Yeah, I remember those days. Oh, boy. They get to be a lot.
And then... Excuse me. On the NFC side, Rams got the win there, 20-17, and this is so with the Rams and the Bengals headed to the Super Bowl. This is the first time these two teams have ever met in a championship.
Nice.
Also, did you know that both the Rams and the Bengals originated from Ohio?
Yeah, I like that fact. That's pretty cool.
So the Rams used to be the Cleveland Rams, founded in 1936. They stayed in Cleveland through 1945. They won an NFL championship game, and then they relocated to Los Angeles a month after that.
Awesome.
Right?
Awesome.
Like, all right, like,
peace.
Like they got Cleveland their championship, and then they dipped.
Yeah.
But also, another interesting thing about this, it's the first Super Bowl in 6 years that does not have Brady or playing in it. The last time this happened was the 2016 Broncos versus Panthers.
Oh, yeah, when
so
Cam Newton acted like a bitch in the press conference.
Yeah.
And people got angry.
Yeah.
But those fucking, you should never interview losing athletes on the biggest stage.
Right? Like he had every right to be angry.
Oh, yeah.
He had every right to be angry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that was the one. I'm pretty sure wasn't that also the game where the first score was a safety?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, so, it's really nice to see like promo for the Super Bowl. That's like, I mean, personally for me, it's not Brady, so I'm happy. I'm not as happy that it's not Mahomes, but just some fresh faces and like a lot more excitement because the first time we've seen these two play together on a stage like this, and like we really don't know what's gonna happen. We can always with Tom Brady what's gonna happen, but right now it's all very like I'm very hyped up for this one. But yeah, this is the second year in a row we have a team with a home field advantage. The Rams are playing at home at SoFi Stadium. Last year, the Bucs became the first team to play at home in NFL history. They also won, so that was two records broken right there, not only playing at home but winning at home. The only other team to get close was the Vikings in 2017 when they lost to the Eagles in the NFC Championship. So the Rams have not won a Super Bowl since 1999 when they beat the Titans 23-16. And the Rams last appeared in the Super Bowl in 2018 when the Pats defeated them 13-3 in the lowest scoring and probably most boring game in Super Bowl history.
I was so happy with that game.
I know you were, because I think we talked about it before. Like that was a very defensive game. Like the Pats defense was on point that year, and that is why Goff could not get a touchdown.
Yeah, and I told you they were gonna win at like the second. I was like, yeah, I'm not worried about this game.
Yeah, there's like 4 plays, and you're like, we're fine.
Yeah, I was like, we got this. Don't worry.
On the Bengals side, this is the Bengals' first Super Bowl appearance since 1988 when they lost to the 49ers 20-16. Prior to the season, the Bengals have not won a playoff game since the 1990s. So, speaking on like a Super Bowl win-wise, this is a very long time coming for both teams.
Yeah. Who do you?
I'm just so excited. Okay. I have thoughts. So I'm honestly, at the end of the day, I'm really not rooting for either team. I'm just really rooting for a good game. I'm really excited for this Super Bowl. I'm happy I can enjoy it, be with some friends. See you Sunday. I may have come on the show with the Joe Burrow glasses, mostly for clout, I'll admit. But I think if I was putting money on this game, I'd be putting money on the Rams. I think this is the Rams' time. I think when I hear about the Super Bowl and like Joe Burrow, nobody is like talking about the Bengals. They're talking about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow going to the Super Bowl. I'm talking about the Rams going to the Super Bowl. I'm talking about Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, Aaron Donald, OBJ, all these players, their defense. Like, I just think they are the total package. I think the Bengals are going to have a hard time trying to beat them. I can't say that it's going to like be a close game. At the same time, I'm not doubting Joe Burrow as a great player, but their offensive line, I wouldn't say is up to par as the Rams. Their defense necessarily isn't the best. It got them here. But if Joe Burrow and the Bengals has done in this year enough to beat a team that has been building and getting better every year. So that's where I'm kind of stuck. I personally think this is Matt Stafford's moment to shine. I understand the hype around Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is going to have plenty more opportunities to get there, but I think that this is the Rams' year. You know, even on top of like, you know, the hometown, having their home field advantage. I ultimately don't think the Bengals are on the same level as the Rams. However, Joe Burrow does a fantastic job of making me upset, winning the championship over the Clemson in 2019, winning the AFC championship this year, you know, coming off of an injury last year. This is his second year. He's going to, you know, if he wins the Super Bowl, he's going to be Heisman #1 draft, Super Bowl winner. I don't know many other people who have done that. So yeah, you know, honestly, on like a heart level, I just hope it's a good game. I will be rooting for Joe Burrow to do good. But ultimately, like I said, if I'm going to put money on this game, I think I'm going to put money on the Rams.
Yeah, I don't think I care who wins in the long run, because
no, neither do I.
Either side is a good story. Like I kind of love to see OBJ in the Super Bowl after everyone being like, he's the
like
reason
this is what he wanted.
Yeah,
he tried so long to get off of the Browns, to be able to be on a team where he can make it to the Super Bowl. And I know he was skeptical at first being on the Rams when he was trying to just find his groove there, but he really, really got into his own towards the end of the season. And I would love to see him win the Super Bowl. Yeah,
I'm just happy he's there. Like, it's nice to see that it wasn't his fault in Cleveland. It was other things in Cleveland, like everyone expected.
Exactly. I think this is a deserving moment for him, and I'm sure he's soaking up every moment of being in LA and enjoying Super Bowl week for sure.
Yeah, I also like that the most popular player in the Super Bowl is not a quarterback; it's a wide receiver. Like OBJ, by social media standards, is the most popular player in the Super Bowl, and that's fantastic to me.
Absolutely, and that goes back all the way to when he was on the Giants. Like, I remember like just liking him as like a. Yeah, just like as a personality. Like I remember when he did the Super Bowl commercial with Eli Manning. It was like the time of my life. Dance. Like I was just like, you know, he's a great character. I really like him, and I'm happy that he's getting the opportunity to play for the championship finally.
Yeah. But I don't know if I care if he wins, to be honest. Stafford finally getting out of the Lions, that's also great. But then seeing Joey Burr and like Jamar, after all the doubt of him, like Chase over summer, the last year, like it was just so much shit towards them, and it's just kind of funny that Joey was like, "Okay, I'm gonna choose my wide receiver from LSU, and then I'll see you in the Super Bowl." And got him to the Super Bowl. Like, that is a pick by the quarterback for his scheme, and it worked out beautifully. And I love to see that. So I just think it's going to be a good game. I do like that Burrow has a chance to become the third person to win a national championship, win the Heisman, win a Super Bowl. Hilariously enough, the other two to do it are also named Joe. Love that little tidbit.
Good old. I guess if I want a successful quarterback son, I have to name him Joe.
Yeah. Some version of Joe.
Some version of Joe.
I think we're in for a good game, and I just hope it's high scoring, but high scoring evenly. I want a game more than I want a very clear. Yeah. I want what a fan of no team that's in the Super Bowl wants, and that's just a fun, epic Super Bowl
game. Yep.
So I
don't know if I mentioned his name in the list of names that I was writing off, but like if Cooper Kupp finishes this season with a Super Bowl on top of having the Triple Crown,
he's just had an unbelievable season. It's unreal that he is like. OBJ is second to Cooper Kupp, which is a sentence I didn't think I'd say.
I just want to know like what he did in the offseason to like flip a switch that made him like was it having Stafford? Like was that Was that the change he needed?
I think it was just one of these special seasons.
You think so?
I think
you don't think this is a.
No, I don't think this is like. I don't think he repeats this. I don't think he'll be like the number one option next year. I think he will be at the start of the season, but I think by the end of the season, someone like OBJ, assuming he's still there, will be wide receiver 1. It's just, I think he's just having one of those seasons. It's like when Moss and Brady teamed up and they put up 50 touchdowns. Like, it was just ridiculous. And it's just what Kupp is having right now. And it's so special to see. And I don't think Kupp's a bad wide receiver. I just think we're not seeing this again.
Okay. I wasn't necessarily sure because, like, I have, like, personally had him on fantasy in the past. And, like, he's never done great for me. And then all of a sudden this year out of nowhere, just, shoots right to the top. Yeah. And so, now I'm just like, is this going to continue or was this one off? So I guess, only time will tell with that. But, I would like to hope that this continues for him.
Yeah, same. Because it's been cool to watch.
But you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any final notes on the Super Bowl before we wrap up?
Here's to a good game. And here's to a not quarterback winning MVP. That's my prediction.
Yes.
It will not be a quarterback. No. My prediction's actually if the Bengals win, quarterback will get the MVP because it has to be Joey. Like Joe Burrow has to be on point for them to win the Super Bowl. But I think if it's the Rams, I think it will be a wide receiver. I think we could see a wide receiver.
Do they account any of the postseason in their vote? Has the voting happened?
Oh, for the Super Bowl MVP though. So two different
Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, Super Bowl MVP. No, MVP awards is just based off of the regular season. So it's coming down to Brady or Rodgers.
I think depending on how Kupp plays, I think he could be it for the Rams.
Yeah. Or
Donald, depending on, or OBJ. Like if a big defensive play comes up, you never know where Donald might get his hands on something. Or Ramsey. Oh my God, I always forget about the team. But yeah, so no, there's like quite a few people. I don't think it'll go to Stafford if they win, unless. Oh my God.
my cat. Okay. My cat is just being annoying. So
just a subtle distraction. Oh my God.
I didn't think it would fly up over my shoulder.
Back to what I was saying. I unless Stafford like pulls like some magic Mahomes tricks out of his pocket, like I think he's gonna do pretty like good and consistent in the Super Bowl. But I think that like his, all of his other teammates are going to shine a bit more because of him.
Yeah,
but I think that's going to like I think like if the Rams win and the MVP goes to a Rams player, that I think it's going to be a non-quarterback. But yeah, I think it's on the other side. It's either going to be Jamar Chase or Joe Burrow. And like, if Jamar Chase is catching them, then it's going to go to Joe Burrow. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to make a case for Jamar Chase to win unless, he does something magical after he catches the ball.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
But yeah.
But only time will tell. Super Bowl's this Sunday.
I am so excited. I can't remember the last time we watched the Super Bowl together, so I'm very happy that for the first time in a long time that we get to do that. Maybe we'll post some fun things on social media of us having a good time because, for the first time in 6 years, neither of our teams are at least Tom Brady because
no.
But yeah, Tom Brady and Mahomes aren't in there. We're gonna enjoy our Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. But yeah, that's all we have for the show this week. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, rate, and review the show. The show is available on Apple, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Excuse me. If you have any questions you want us to answer on the show, you can give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and leave your question in the review. And we'll start to go through any cues for the girls at the end of every episode. But yeah, so that's it for This week, thanks for tuning in. We hope everyone enjoys Super Bowl's weekend, and we will see you next time on the other side of the season.
See you next time.